All right, we are live.
Okay. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever you're logging from. This is Shantanu Kelkar once again hosting you in this podcast series where strategy meets execution. And today is a big day for us. We have this is our ninth podcast in the series. We have done eight podcasts before this between myself and Aniket, and we thought rather than just talking to each other, we'll also invite some esteemed guests on the podcast to talk about their area of expertise. So we are very fortunate to have a guest speaker today. We'll introduce him shortly. But my name is Shantanu. As I mentioned, I am a founder at 1.618 Business Consulting. That's my management consultancy business. Have about 20 plus years of experience working across automation companies and in profiles across engineering, manufacturing, and strategy consulting. So I'm co-hosting this with Aniket. Aniket, you want to introduce yourselves quickly?
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. Depends on which part of the world you are. I'm Aniket. I'm glad to share this stage with our guest speaker, which shortly Shantanu will introduce. But I'm Aniket. I have 15 plus years in supply chain and robotics automation here in US. Currently working in a one robotics automation consultancy firm here in US. Before that, I worked in Amazon. I did actually work on automation of the warehouses, where I saved around $9.6 million in cost saving. Expert in Six Sigma and operational excellence, and did work in Cummins before Amazon for 12 years in diesel engine manufacturing plant. So that's all. Just short introduction for me. Now we'll go
Yeah.
introduce
Yeah.
our guest speaker.
So as I said, we have been talking to each other, Aniket, and what we thought we should do today is get some real experts onto the podcast to share their insights with us. And today we have, we are really thrilled to have Mr. Kamal Singh join us. Kamal is really an industry veteran, 35 plus years of experience in wide areas of fields or automation, software as a service, energy efficiency. I know Kamal from my Emerson days, in which again, I had worked with him on engineering projects, automation projects, and since then I have seen Kamal work across multiple fields and in leadership positions where he has driven large businesses to successful scale. Right. Especially today, we have invited him to talk about the key topic of our podcast, which is the environmental, social, and governance aspects of the business for small and medium businesses. And again, we couldn't have found a better expert or a better guest to talk about this area of business than Kamal. I think he has spent the last decade or so working on specifically or exactly this area through his experience in the companies like Consul or Fuji Electric, and as well as Danfoss before that. So really great to have you, Kamal sir, on joining us on this podcast. We really look forward to your to hearing your views, to getting some insights from your experience related to ESG. Before we continue, would you like to add something for us and for our guests today?
Yeah, thanks, Santanu and Aniket. It's a privilege to join this platform. It's a good stage where I can share my viewpoints based on my experience from the industry. You have we have very well narrated about my experience, so I don't have to revisit those my experience for the audience. But yeah, currently I'm working in the field of E part of ESG. ESG, all the audience understands that E stands for environment, S for social, and G for governance. But today I will be talking about only E portion of the ESG, and why it matters to the industry overall with respect to climate. And in particular, I will be dwelling upon the advantages and risk and how to mitigate those environment risks for the small medium business
Mm.
for the audience. Yeah.
Okay. No, great. Thanks
Right.
for that, Kamal sir. In fact, that's a good segue into my first question to you is, when we talk with SMBs, when we talk with companies, when in my consulting field, I talk to manufacturing or industrial companies, similarly on Aniket's side as well. Uh, when we talk about different aspects of the business that are top of their mind, ESG is there on the horizon. It's probably not the thing that they are talking about for today or for this month or for this quarter, but it's always there lurking on the background. And when we ask them about what you are doing about this particular aspect of your business, there's no clear answer. It's probably born out of a lack of understanding of what it means for them. That was my reading in interacting with the SMBs. So the first question probably for you is, why is this aspect so important for a small or medium business to first understand and then act upon it?
Yeah, Sandra, it's a very good question to start with our conversation. I will just set a context around your question. Today, all of us globally, including India, we are facing lots of climate change, natural disasters, you can say, or calamities, you can say, like a flood,
Mm,
extreme heat, or cyclones. So across the country in India, and I'm sure in Europe also has faced lately the last couple of years, and across the globe. So that's happening because of the temperature, environment temperature, because of the carbon gets captured into the environment, which is making the temperature go up. And as you know, all of us know that in 2014, UN initiated a dialogue amongst all the countries, 180 plus countries, to come to a common page, an agreement to limit the temperature rise to address the this climate change, and everybody agreed to limit this temperature rise to plus 1.5 degrees Celsius, not beyond that.
mm,
Otherwise, this climate will become unlivable for the next generation. Yes, you
mm,
rightly said in your question that it's not a quick fix solution for this. It is it's a drawn over over the multiple years activities,
mm,
but the every stakeholder in this planet has to commit how they can contribute to reduce the any kind of calamities from the global warming. Basically, the common name is known as a global warming to
right.
everybody, which is well understood word. So coming back to
Right.
the SMB for your customer, what you have been you have bounced the question to make your
Mm,
customers are not very familiar with the
mm,
what is this and how to move next. So first of all, they
mm,
have to understand that in every household, starting with the household, with the industries and around surroundings, we have a lots of waste. Okay? Waste is
mm,
coming in various forms, and overconsumption plus waste comes from in various forms, and industry is one of the major portion for that, and for the increasing the temperature in the climate. So they have to
mm,
understand what are the things. So they have to identify those areas where they can measure and to give a commitment and mitigate those things. So it's basically measurement, action, and the mitigation. They're the three steps which takes a on the horizon. I would say it will take about 15 to 20 years to mitigate this warming or global warming. And every
mm,
country has committed by 2000, by 2050 they will mitigate this. greenhouse gases or net carbon zero. They will achieve net carbon zero. Yeah.
Right, right. So it seems, I think it is for sure it is going to have a big impact on the immediate future as well. Um, Although I think there is sort of a delayed gratification in that. Do you
Hmm.
see that companies have to invest today into it uh, to make sure that they have an immediate impact on the business in the present time, or is it more like preparing for 5 years or 10 years down the line?
Santanu, the companies have to first understand the problem, the pain, what they are undergoing, and what kind of pain they are passing on to the global climate. Basically, they have
Mm,
to understand that, and first once they acknowledge this pain area, okay, what are the things happening in their respective plants, which is emitting all kind of gases, toxic
mm,
gases. Let's start with the carbon, CO2, SO2, NO2. They are the various gases which are getting emitted into the environment by the various industries. Where biggest polluter is the steel manufacturing, power plants, oil and
mhm,
gas refinery, and plus other few more. Plus overall, every industry has some pollution, and it is being the policy makers across the globe. They have defined the kind of a window for the number of years which they can commit to when they can become net carbon zero. They don't have to invest in the big money in the to start with. They
mm,
can gradually step up their investment based after identifying the pain area, which can be done only through a measurement, which is a very inexpensive tools for measuring
mm.
the pain area in their respective industrial plants. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. And I think you mentioned that some of these, gas guzzlers or the big industries that are causing the most amount of emissions, they are moving towards the controlling their emissions and really looking at the E part of their business with very big focus. And as a knock-on effect, I suppose the companies that are serving these larger establishments, the vendors or the suppliers to these larger companies, they are also now being asked to ensure that their operations comply with
Mhm.
these paradigms or these frameworks. Is that a right statement, especially from an SMB perspective?
Yeah, Sandham is a very good question for the awareness for the SMB customers. Uh, uh,
Hmm.
in India, I can talk about in particular because I have a data readily available in my mind about
Hmm.
1,000 companies who are stock exchange listed companies. They have committed to the stock exchange and various stakeholders in India. They will become net carbon zero by 2050. So they have submitted
Okay.
the plan to various policy makers in the country, how they are going to achieve that in time frame. And as a
Hmm.
result of that, they have also started giving in that target to their respective suppliers. Whatever we are going to purchase from you, they will become net carbon zero product with the declaration that your product is manufactured with following process, and they are minimal year after year. They have minimal carbon emissions from their manufacturing process. So generally, all the suppliers, they have taken a commitment, and these commitments have gone into 10 to 15 years from today, and which
Mhm.
every year to the investors call on to a stock exchange and to policymakers. These 1,000 companies are declaring that.
Okay. Oh, that's an
Absolutely.
interesting point. Yeah.
So, so let's moving on to this slide, right? This slide, Kamal sir, showing around 65, 61% of SMEs are taking actions purely just to meet customer expectations. My questions to you is, are you seeing this on the ground? Like, are big clients actually firing suppliers who are not green? What's the status out there? Can you share with our audience and with us?
Yeah, this data in front of all of us is basically have been taken as a source as a Nomura, which is a very reputed market research agency, Nomura. and this data has been picked. So I have a trust in this source of data, and they did a this survey globally, including India. This data is giving them a kind of a benchmark or a kind of direction, okay, how the industries are moving forward. And the previous question of the Santenu, where the large enterprises are committed to the various stakeholders, policymakers, stock exchange investors, etc. So based on that, these findings were done, and those large enterprises have given a kind of a kind of no compromise terms and condition to those SMBs or various suppliers. They have a mix of large corporation supplier plus SMBs,
Mm-hmm.
and in any country, including India, the 70 to 80% industries are based on SMEs. Uh, so
Mm.
this data has been derived by Nomura after having a global survey, including India. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good to know. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see, like, the 51% companies now cite winning new customers as a primary motivator, right? Compared to just 34% last year. So you can really see the wind has shifted from compliance to a sales growth.
Yeah,
That,
I
that
want to add one more point which I did not touch upon. This preference by customers also coming from the consumers.
yeah.
Today's generation, consumers, they are very, very climate sensitive. And I can take some small example of current pollution level in the Delhi because of whatever reasons we are facing in Delhi, in India. So consumers have become very, very sensitive about the climate issues, and especially in the textiles, uh, cosmetics, and various chemical industries. Because very chemical goes into the various manufacturing processes like textiles, cosmetics, etc., and the food and beverage industry. These
Hmm.
three industries are very, very sensitive with the new consumers who are into the age of 15 to 30 years. Yeah, they are very, very climate sensitive, very, very climate sensitive. So these numbers are also getting embedded from those consumer preference.
That's
Right.
good.
So if I can, try to summarize that in a statement, I would say that it's sort of a push and pull force. It probably started with a push force with a lot of regulatory and policy making, which was pushing the enterprises to implement, solutions to really reduce their carbon footprint. But now it's gradually shifting to a pull from the consumer industry or from the consumer end as well, from the customer end, where they are looking out for such features in the products as well as in the operations of the companies, which keeps them apart or sets them apart as a differentiator compared to the larger crowd. Right.
Absolutely, Santanu, you have summarized my statement very nicely. These consumers are driving the companies to adhere to the climate guidelines as
Mm.
defined by various policymakers. And also these items like India is one of the biggest exporter for textile. I've just touched upon, but time is short, so I can touch upon many examples, but I'll touch upon
Mm.
textiles. India is one of the biggest exporter. Their EU, European Union countries, which is consists of 25 or 26 countries, they have set up a, guidelines approved by the EU Parliament, where they are going to impose the carbon border tax, the carbon border tax CBM from the next year onwards, mid of next year 2026. And so all the textile manufacturers who are supplying to the European countries, plus any
Hmm.
other suppliers like auto ancillary or any other components or sub-components or intermediates in chemicals, they all will be to have to pay carbon border tax, which as per the EU Parliament guidelines, which is going to come to effect from July or June next year. And coming to
Mm.
the additional points on the consumer have started becoming an influencer now. What to buy, which company product to buy, which they are more aware today from the social media. And social media
Mm.
is those consumers are giving a lot of awareness to the entire spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting take
That's
on that. New age technology impacting the adoption.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. No, good data point. Thanks, Kamal sir, for adding some insights in there. Let's move to the next slide. And I think the question I want to ask, like, the SMBs might be asking, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for them? How does this add business value? Can you touch on that a little bit? I think this slide does share some aspects of that.
Yeah.
Correct.
The multiple advantages, but I have broadly covered the four advantages. One is the cost savings. Second, enhanced brand reputation. Third is access green finance. The fourth one is navigate regulations, which is a broad one. There are various sub points against each points, but broadly for the awareness, because since this podcast is for the awareness to the SMBs, I've just upon the broad stuff which can be understood instantly by them. So it's not only the investment by the SMBs to become a climate friendly manufacturing process. In the as a result of that, this climate manufacturing, climate sensitive manufacturing process improvement, they can do lots of cost savings. And I will touch upon, because of paucity of time, very simple example which is will be understood by the audience, like energy saving.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut your energy consumption, because energy is being produced across the globe mainly on the fossil fuel, coal or oil and gas, and lately, especially in India, very soon, in next 3 to 5 years, we'll be touching upon 50% of our generation capacity through solar. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what they can do in the current operation, if they are not purchasing the energy through a solar mix plants, or local solar plants or distributed solar plants, and they are consuming the energy through a fossil plants, could be they may be having a local diesel generator plants also, so they can reduce the energy consumption cost, and which in turn gives the advantage to the pollution carbon emission basically. Yeah. And the second thing, a very simple thing, in that water, many industries are water intensive. Many industries are water intensive, and especially in textile, I can tell you, textile is a very water intensive. One of the simple example to understand. So companies can, to start with, they can save lots of money in energy efficiency and water consumption efficiency. Along with that, the various manufacturing process pain areas will be coming on the surface once they start doing a measurement of the various points in the manufacturing process which are giving the carbon emissions or any other toxic gas emissions. Then they can identify what are the areas are troublesome areas, which can they can make it right to do the optimization of the manufacturing process as well. So these are broad statements I'm making. If you deep dive, one can do the scoping study of the plant. Then we can come out with lots of areas with the recommendation how to address those cost saving. Yeah.
Right, right.
Great.
And I
Yeah.
can probably relate to this because you mentioned energy as one big area, consumption of, let's say, utilities as one big area. I think reducing wastage through the process or as part of the process is also one big area. And we quoted this example from Maharashtra in one of our previous podcasts, where the government has come up with a sort of an incentive to incentivize the sugar plants, the sugar industry,
Yeah.
on various parameters. And one of the parameters is looking at how are they able to control their wastage. And they are ranked and rated on those parameters. And obviously, the companies that come on top are then incentivized and awarded. But the ecosystem overall is looking at reducing the wastage as a means to address the environment part of it. Uh,
Very good point, Santanu. In other words, in this ESG language or the net carbon zero language, is called circular economy. And once you have come out with the pain points and see the various process areas, how they are manufacturing, and how to minimize the wastage in the entire manufacturing process value chain, one can come out with those areas and arrive at how to reuse various elements of the manufacturing process so they can do a lots of cost saving. Yeah, that's what in the beginning I told. Once the scoping study is done of the manufacturing process, and
Mm.
many various pain points for the cost saving can be derived here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great.
Awesome.
And in fact, we also have some specific examples that, for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm moving to
You
that
had,
next slide.
No,
right,
Yeah.
if you
right.
come to previous slides, certain more areas I have not touched upon in
Okay.
broadly for the audience. One is enhanced brand reputation. In previous slide, I mentioned about the new age
Mm.
consumers. They are very sensitive about the various products what they are using, especially in F&B, food and beverage industry, textiles and cosmetics and other related other industry. So
Right.
through social media, they can create lots of awareness to the various buyers on the about the products and solutions what they're doing, and they can ramp up their brand reputation in a big way, and they can sell, and they can revenue growth can happen as a result of that. Next,
Mm.
very briefly, I can touch upon government of India. I'm not aware about the US or Europe in detail, but especially for India, I can tell a couple of banks have come out with the financing for the green financing, they call it. And
Oh.
India's largest bank, State Bank of India, has come out with a
Mm.
scheme. SIDBI has come out with a scheme, plus few more like one multinational banks, Standard Chartered, has come out with a scheme for green financing at the reduced interest rate to fund these SMBs or any
That's good.
industries for the green for the making the whole process green. And
Mm.
of course, in any country, regulators are very tough to manage or negotiate. So this this will give them a good platform to how to comply with the regulations. And plus, I touched upon in the beginning in a few minutes ago about the EU restriction carbon border tax. So that also they
Mm.
can mitigate by if they adopt this schemes. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm.
On a lighter note, Kamal sir, you spoke about this importance of packaging and how consumers are becoming very aware of how the packaging or what the packaging is. I just read about, I saw a post on social media about a company which is marketing dried kiwi fruit, and they had this very nice package where it was storing the kiwi fruits, dried kiwi fruits. In the back of the package, they had defined what a kiwi is, and the definition there that they gave on the package was kiwi is a flightless bird which is native to New Zealand. So they are marketing dried kiwis, but then the definition they are giving is of a bird, and consumers are quick to catch on to that. It was more on lighter note, but I think what's happening more is as consumers are also becoming more health conscious. The first thing that they look at is the ingredients on the back of
Yes.
the cover or on the back of the packaging. They go through that first and then make a purchase decision. I think that's a
Conscious
consumer
choice.
trend that a lot of F&B companies are seeing.
Precisely, you touched upon very right point, and people are becoming very aware of the climate related matters, very sensitive what they purchase and how the companies are following the various processes
Hmm.
to manufacture the products. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
So we do have some specific examples. Aniket, you want to
Yeah.
cover a couple of them? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So just moving on to this slide, yeah, these are some of the example. Sir, you want to touch on any of those just briefly, like what you have seen, what are the specific examples, how they have implemented these strategies, ESG strategies in
Yeah,
their operations.
yeah. In my current assignment, what I'm doing, I have dealt with many customers, large, medium, small. Since you invited me for the SMB examples, so I picked up few successes out of those
Hmm.
small, medium. With the customers what I'm handling is, for my company, Logic Lidar. It runs into 1,000 plus customers. It's a mix of
No.
large, medium, and small customers. So I will
Mhm.
just pick a few examples. You can run into various pages, but I can touch upon various point. Number one, packaging in food and beverage industry first, because which is the
Mm.
really commonly understood by the today's consumer. So what kind of the modification? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
We
You
just lost
we
that
just
half
lost
part
your.
of the sentence, but you are now
Yeah,
back
yeah.
on. Yeah.
So, based on the identifying these companies, Arrow, Green, and Oricon and BNA, all are based in western part of the country. And I know personally, Arrow and Oricon both are indoor-based company. I don't recall about BNA packaging, but broadly I can tell about these companies adopted from last 3 years about they understood what's happening in the global climate issues, how people are reacting. I would use the word underlying the statement, how consumers are reacting and how their customers, like a large FMCG company like Hindustan Lever or ITC, or those companies are demanding from them in the modification in the packaging specifications. So based on the inputs from those their large customers like Hindustan Lever, which is a multinational company of levers UK, and ITC, Calcutta based. So based on that, they cater these requirements to those large FMCG companies. So based on their specification, because those large companies had insights from the consumer, so they modified the process. But to modify the process, they had to undergo the basic thing. They cannot
Mhm,
modify the things overnight. So they went
Mm.
adopted a scoping study for their
mhm,
process manufacturing process. And based on that scoping study, their consultant gave them some kind of a report, a very brief report, what's right, what's wrong, and they started measuring those parameters, what is wrong in their implant, basically through a IoT devices, which is a inexpensive devices, and they brought those data for 6 months to the cloud, and they structured those data into various insights to tell them what's how the manufacturing process is moving. So based on
mhm,
that, they did a modification. It was not much of investment. For the confidential reasons, I don't want to declare the
Mm.
numbers out here, but for the benefit of the audience, it is a very affordable investment to ensure that they come out with the right product as per their buyer basic specifications. So this
mhm.
example are very, very successful, and they have continued to be the supplier for those large multinational companies or Indian FMCG large companies. Second, I can touch upon textile number seven. Tirupur in Tamil Nadu is a hub for textile manufacturing. Hub. They are doing lots of exports, lots of exports to the across the globe, Europe, America, everywhere, and we have about more than about 15 customers. So I could not list them down all the 15 customers under seven. So I just clubbed them as a Tirupur cluster, basically.
Mm.
So there is a very, very toxic environment manufacturing process. Textile, if you are aware of that, and I'm sure if any
Right.
audience from textile industry in this podcast, they can acknowledge my statement. Because a very, very toxic gases are emitted. Lots of waters are consumed out there. Lots of waters or
Yeah.
toxic gases are emitted as a part of manufacturing process in textiles. Uh, so we did all kind of measurements. Again, same process like packaging. What I narrated above, and insights were derived, and there's some kind of a extra investment was done for analyzing the various manufacturing process in terms of gas emission. For analyzers were installed there, the online analyzers, were NOx, SOx, those kind of analyzers were done. But those analyzers are not very expensive. There are many companies are there, or 8 to 10 companies are there to supply those. If the company owner negotiates well, then those analyzers can be supplied at the very optimum price. Those are textile
Mm.
corporations, or they were in a hurry to meet the global buying house requirements, because global buying house is sitting in EU and America, and they are selling all those textile products through online Amazon or Wall Street and other local stores as well as the online. So they wanted to implement this fast. So this 6 or 7 companies, if my memory serves right, they implemented entire process of improvement, and they committed to those buying house that in next 2 years time they will become toxic free manufacturing, toxic free. So I'm
Hmm.
pleased to share that without taking names, two of them have become toxic free right now, basically. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
it's incredible.
great, awesome.
Thanks for
So I
sharing
think
that,
these
sir.
examples cover each of the 4 points that we had earlier mentioned. It covers cost savings. It prepares companies for export markets. I think prepares them for navigating or complying with the regulations as well, and getting those green finance that you had mentioned. So I think a good list of examples here that are real world. We are
Yeah,
not just talking theory here. This is actually practically happening on the ground now.
100% agree with you, Shantanu. And I think while in this process of becoming an ESG compliant, they are not only just checking the box, but they are also building a competitive advantage over their peers. So that is very important for these companies to acknowledge while they are adopting to this ESG journey. So let's look into the next slide.
If they start today, the starting with identifying the pain points and start implementing the various solutions, they will
Yeah,
take 2 to 5 years to execute that, and that will
Mm.
help them to become future ready for the business. Yeah, future ready. They can mitigate all kind of a manufacturing process risk and the market
Mm.
risks.
Great.
very good point. Okay. All right. So this slide covers the technical solutions and benefits. Basically, starts with the pain point, the benefits, ROI that the SMB should expect. Then what are the silent features of that technology? How are they going to implement this? And then what is the deployment model? Uh, do you want to touch on this? Maybe we can add in some more examples also. I know Shantanu has some good examples from
Yeah,
his
so
Honeywell days.
some of this is very relevant, or jumps out to me as something I have seen work firsthand. Again, working with Honeywell or in Honeywell, we used to work with our customers in the oil and gas industry, as Kamal sir was pointing out. Some of the larger enterprises. Who are using sensors to in a couple of ways. One is on rotating equipment, the other is to identify uh, gas leakages in the plant, where it's either toxic gases, or carbon heavy, or gases which are global warming gases. So it's just a mesh of sensors that they install in a particular area, and a software that captures those signals, does the analysis of how the interaction of those sensors is in that particular area, and then gives warnings, as well as gives you a sort of a roadmap on how to manage the processes in order to reduce the emissions as much as possible. So with a very low cost sort of installation, just a few sensors and the software on top of that, you can really address this whole gas leakage point, the whole
Mhm.
vibration monitoring, or making sure that the health of the rotating equipment is top notch. So I have seen that work firsthand myself. What I think something that jumps out to me is the rent model. So
Mm.
Kamal sir, one question to you is, do you see this happening in reality, that if the companies feel that the capex is too high, can they opt for a more opex friendly model,
Yeah.
where the upfront cost gets reduced and staggered over a period of time?
Yeah, the companies, the seller, many companies I've seen that they, based on the financial credentials of the SMBs in particular, in here we are talking about SMBs, financial cadences. So what they can derive various packages in terms of financial packages, and the staggered payment can be given by those SMBs to meet their objective for the growth of the business, and also meet the policy makers and the consumer requirements here.
Right.
Yeah, that is like, it's more suitable for their balance sheets and also keeping the cash flow healthy, right? The
Yeah.
OPEX model, rather than just having a really higher CapEx, and then you don't know whether the ROI is gonna, you know, uh, be fertilized, and also they will see that the return on investments of really big number. OPEX does make sense, and also they can get help of consultants like us, right? They can talk to us, they can get some advice from us, and we have contacts of similar OEMs or similar suppliers who can provide those, and we can help them integrate this into their operations.
Yeah, guys like you, what I understand about you guys, you guys have done a good job in the SMB domain, in various activities where you help them, various SMBs to, which couple of SMBs I know them personally, and they have given a good feedback about your splendid work, what you have done. That's what you guys have invited me here to speak something on this topic. So yeah, I think guys like you can do a good job if the customers acknowledge this. First, they have to acknowledge the pain point.
Yes.
And based on that, the solutions evolve. Solutions kind of various kind of types of solutions, whether technical or financial solution, can be worked out by by the suppliers. Yeah, by the suppliers.
Yep.
Again, I
Yeah.
think that's a good segue into what this, if you put together everything that we have discussed in the past 40 minutes, what is it that the SMB can, anyone listening in, any business listening in to this, what is the next step that they can take? Kamal sir, what would you suggest them that they do?
Yeah, well, it's a very simple. First, they have to answer why. Why I have to mitigate the climate risk for the civil society, for the business. It's all cascading effect.
Right.
Nobody is left out in that. It's a cascading effect. Everybody has to contribute, a individual and the industry and the policy makers. Everybody has to contribute. Otherwise, what the climate change, what we are all of us are experiencing across the globe, will further get more and more, multiply more and more across the globe. So, and business will suffer. Business will suffer. For example, if any in a coastal area, if a cyclone comes, and if any SMPs are based on the coastal areas, their business will be out of action for almost next 3 months, 6 months, basically. Yeah. And plus, the consumers are fully aware now. Which consumers are fully well informed, courtesy social media, basically, and various influencers. So they have to keep this thing in mind, why they have to take up this, to identify this pain, and after identifying the pain, they should implement. And I want to re-emphasize, this is not an expensive process. Let them first get into a scoping study and the measurement process, then take a complete project cost estimate, then take a decision, and then take a decision based on their business growth ambition. Yeah, if they are exporters, then they will face major problem moving forward next 5 years, and they will start
Right.
facing problem for the EU from next year onwards.
Right.
So that's
That's very
I
important.
would like to convey to the all the esteemed SMB customers here.
Yeah.
They have to
I think
answer
they
why.
can't wait for things to happen. They have to
Yep.
act
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah,
Proactive actions will
Got it.
help them, absolutely.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
Great.
that's where this I want to show this slide, key takeaways and action plan, right? I think we summarize, like, Kamal sir did a really fantastic job of why this is an urgency right now, right? There are regulatory pressures, customer demand is also picking up. There is a pull force, as Shantanu described earlier, that it is just not just the regulatory pressure, but now the customers are also demanding this ESG's product.
Mm.
And also there is some financial risk, like avoid pollution fines, protect against rising energy cost. I know a lot of, if you are SMB and exporting some products to Europe or Saudi or other countries, they do require yeah, like compliance to these ESG policies. That's why you don't want, that's a serious financial risk to your bottom line of the balance sheet. So definitely want to take actions proactively, not reactively. Business value side, we did touch base on this cost savings, growth act, right? It will these adopting to these policies, it will reduce your power bills. It does have a growth access, unlock green finances. Uh, uh, Kamal sir did give some good examples on those green finance initiatives that are been India. Various banks, like national level banks, are doing that. And also the last one is reputation, right? 58% of peers use those sustainability to differentiate their brands, so you don't want to fall behind in that race. The last one,
Mhm.
immediate actions. This is very, very important for you. Get the expert audits. That's why we are here for. Kamal sir is very well known in this area. Feel free to reach out to them and us if you want any help on that end. Deploy tech, right tech, right? We did discuss about IoT sensors for vibration and monitoring, MES, that is also getting used for tracking your barcodes, for material tracking, things like that. Those are the options. Or there are many more which we can't cover everything in this, but definitely reach out to us for your specific cases. The last one is commit to schedule, right? Define mitigation timelines, prepare your plan, and you need help. We are here to help. And last one, I think I want to say that future proof your business today, because sustainability is the new standard for growth. It is not the past, it is the future, and it is happening right now.
No,
So any final
absolutely well
thoughts from
captured,
you?
Aniket. Yeah, Kamal sir, any final thoughts from you?
Well, but only one statement. I will urge the customers to go for it. It has an immense business advantage and the image advantage of the company. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh, that's great. I think that's
very well said,
quite
sir.
well simply put. Yeah. So I think it's very clear now what anyone listening to this has to do next. So just go ahead and pick up that phone, or drop a mail, drop a note to us. Any of us, one of us, all of us are on the same team, the team ESG. So
Yes,
we'll leave the credentials here, our
yes,
contact details as well, and any of us is easily or readily accessible on a phone call or on an email, on a chat. And yeah, let's get together and at least brainstorm ideas on how you can, as Aniket put it, future proof your business starting today, right? So
100%.
that's it that we had to cover today. I again wholeheartedly thank Kamal sir for taking time out and attending this podcast as a guest speaker. I think it was very invigorating for us, very a learning session in a way. Some of these things you keep reading about, but then when it comes from experts like you, Kamal sir, it really lends a lot more credence to it, and we start seeing things very clearly with those specific examples, with the experience of working with those companies that you shared. So thanks a lot once again for attending and giving us your insights, sharing your valuable experience with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree with Shantanu. And Shantanu, thanks for introducing Kamal sir to me. Really enjoyed this session. And thank you for sharing your expertise and vast wisdom that you've gathered over the years of experience. So, for the SMBs out there, we'll be sharing out this presentation through our LinkedIn channel. Do reach out to us if you have any questions. Please let us know in the comment section which are the topics you want to hear from us. What are the pain problems that you are facing? If you have any case studies, or if you want us to dig into your data and look at your problems case, do let us know. We would like to happily talk about it and then dissect that problem, provide you a best solution. Thank you all for joining today. It was really great session. I know we little bit went over time, but I mean, I can't
No,
thank
that's
enough
absolutely
for
worth
both.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely worth it for every second. Yeah. All right, logging off, and we'll definitely meet next week. Keep following us and keep liking our um, content on YouTube as well as on the LinkedIn. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, and good night to folks in India. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.